Breaking news! Our Atlanta Falcons have made moves ahead of the game, and I'm going to give you all the details. Before we dive into the big news, take a second to hit like and subscribe to the channel. Let's go! The Atlanta Falcons just made two big moves, elevating cornerback Kevin King and wide receiver Chris Blair from the practice squad to the active roster ahead of our home opener. If you're wondering what that means for Sunday's game, I've got all the details for you. So, here's how it works. NFL teams can elevate up to 2 players from the practice squad to the active roster on game days without cutting anyone from the main roster. But there's a catch. You can only elevate each player 3 times during the regular season. After that, if you want them back on the roster, you have to make some permanent changes, either cut someone or make room. This week, King and Blair are the ones who get the nod, which is pretty important as we prepare to take on the Steelers. Now, let's talk about Kevin King. If you've been following preseason, you know King showed up and showed out. He played in all 3 preseason games, racking up 6 tackles and grabbing one impressive pick that led to a Falcons touchdown against the Dolphins in the opener. Our guy Jamal Johnson even named him the Falcoholic Surprise Player of the Preseason, and for good reason. King came into preseason without many expectations, but he quickly made his presence felt. In that Miami game, he jumped a crossing route in the first quarter, snatching an interception and running it back for 29 yards. He also locked down in one-on-one coverage, defending 2 passes and even forcing a fumble. While he didn't make the final 53-man roster, he earned a spot on the practice squad, which is still a major accomplishment for someone who's been away from pro football for a while. And who knows? His veteran leadership might be exactly what our defense needs as the season progresses. On the offensive side of things, Chris Blair is also making moves. Blair played in all 3 preseason games this year and was actually on the Falcons practice squad last season. Some of you might remember him from Week 12 when we faced the Saints. He didn't get any stat lines that game, but he showed up as a reliable target for our quarterbacks throughout preseason. In fact, Blair earned himself the title of preseason MVP from Jamal for his standout performances. Blair finished preseason with 154 yards on just 8 catches, averaging a crazy 19.3 yards per catch. His best game came in Week 2 against the Ravens when he snagged 4 receptions for 91 yards, even though we lost that game by just 1 point. The dude was finding holes in coverage, making big plays, and picking up yards after the catch like a pro. Even though he was released during the final roster cuts, the Falcons re-signed him to the practice squad the very next day. And now, he's back on the active roster, ready to help us out in what could be a high-flying offensive season. So, what does all this mean for Sunday's game against the Steelers? Well, it's clear that the Falcons are prepared to tap into their extended roster early in the season. Raheem Morris and the coaching staff have been talking about how it's not just about the 53-man roster anymore, it's more like the 55-man roster, with these practice squad elevations giving us extra flexibility. Coach Morris even mentioned guys like King and Blair by name when discussing how this extension of the roster is crucial for staying competitive throughout the season. He emphasized how the flexibility to bring guys up for game days without cutting anyone gives the team more options, especially when injuries hit. And let's be honest, in the NFL, injuries are inevitable. It's all about having depth, and the Falcons are showing they've got it. Both King and Blair have earned this opportunity, and Sunday's game could be the start of something big for them. Whether it's King stepping in to help lock down Pittsburgh's receivers or Blair finding himself a role in the offense, these guys are ready to contribute. The Steelers are a tough team, but with the talent we've got, especially with veterans like Kirk Cousins leading the offense and Kyle Pitts back in action, we're in for an exciting opener. Now, Falcons Nation, I want to hear from you. What do you think about these roster moves? Do you see Kevin King making a big play on defense? Could Chris Blair be the secret weapon in our passing game? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. With the upcoming matchup, all eyes are on our new offensive coordinator, Zach Robinson. You may know him from his time with the Los Angeles Rams, where he was instrumental in helping them win the Super Bowl. Well, now he's in Atlanta, and he's about to make his debut as an NFL play caller right here at home. Here's the catch. Robinson won't be calling the plays from the sidelines like you might expect. Nope. He'll be up in the coaching booth, getting a bird's-eye view of the field. According to ESPN's Mark Raimondi, Robinson tried calling plays from upstairs during the preseason and loved it. So, that's where he'll be stationed all season long, making those key calls as we go head-to-head with some of the toughest defenses in the league. Now, we've got a pretty interesting twist for Sunday's game. You see, the Steelers' offensive coordinator is none other than Arthur Smith, the former Falcons head coach and play caller from the last 3 seasons. He'll be back in town, but this time on the other side of the field. It's going to be a battle of strategies, and while Robinson may have less experience calling plays, he's got one major advantage: talent. Robinson is working with a much better offensive roster than Smith did. We've got Kirk Cousins under center, and although his run with the Vikings ended early last season due to injury, he's back and ready to roll in Atlanta. Add to that our first-round draft pick, rookie quarterback Michael Penix Jr., and we're looking at a bright future for this offense. But that's not all. Bijan Robinson, Drake London, and Kyle Pitts are all on board, making this one of the most exciting offensive units we've seen in years. And if you ask Bijan Robinson, he's a huge fan of our new OC. Bijan recently called Zach a mastermind during an interview with NFL reporter Kay Adams. Bijan talked about how Zach is open to player input and even implements their ideas in practice, which has really brought the offense together. What makes him different is like if we have an input on something, he's going to listen to it and he might implement it like the next day and try it, Bijan said. And I think that's how you become a really good offense. That kind of flexibility and creativity is exactly what we need as we prepare for Week 1 against the Steelers. With Bijan in the backfield, Drake London stretching defenses, and Kyle Pitts as a major mismatch problem, the sky's the limit for this offense. But of course, all of that potential has to translate into results on the field. Sunday's game at 1 p.m. Eastern Time is going to be the first real test for Robinson's play calling and for this new-look Falcons offense. Can we capitalize on all this talent and make a statement in Week 1? That's the big question. So, Falcons Nation, what do you think? Are you excited to see Zach Robinson calling plays from the booth? Do you think this offense can live up to its potential with Kirk Cousins leading the way and weapons like Bijan, Drake, and Kyle ready to explode? Let me know in the comments below. And before you go, don't forget to like this video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on those notifications so you never miss a Falcons update. Let's rise up and get ready for an epic season opener this Sunday. See you all in the next video. Go Falcons!